Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Well, first tonight, Human Services Minister Roger Yench has survived another day of punishing attacks in Parliament. Pressure is building on the government to ditch a controversial youth program in the Northern Territory. The minister says he won't be swayed as he tries to sell the government's housing message.
He's faced calls to resign and relentless scrutiny, but Roger Yench isn't tempted to lie down just yet.
How are you feeling? Certainly, it's been a big week.
Joining City Mission to reveal the latest weapon against homelessness, the old Balmoral Motor Inn ready to be transformed into supported accommodation.
When you've got 30 or 40 people coming up to an open home for a house, they're the ones who are not going to get a look in. So this will change the lives of the people who will come to live here, there's no doubt.
The $4 million announcement overshadowed by a barrage of questions from Labor.
My question is to the Minister for Human Services. My question is again to the Minister for Human Services. My question is again to the Minister for Human Services.
All seeking answers over why the government is sending Tasmanian youths to a controversial program in the top end. The minister says the job can't be done locally.
There has been no provider step forward with that capability in Tasmania. We are going to have to develop it.
Doubling down in his support, insisting he'd use the program if he had to.
If my child needed the sorts of supports that this program provides and the advice was this was the best place for them, yes, I would.
His troubles didn't end there. The Greens fired one final shot over tenancy laws, launching a bid to send him to the Privileges Committee, infuriating the Premier.
What you want to do is waste more time on political witch hunts, on character assassination.
It was voted down with the support of independent Madeleine Ogilvie. Ending a week in Parliament, Roger Yench would rather forget. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
And the government is facing mounting pressure to lift gathering restrictions in time for the festive season. A maximum of 20 people are currently allowed in homes due to coronavirus, but that rule has today been labelled, quote, a bit Christmas Grinchy.
Will you please move to increase gathering limits, because myself and others have very large families, and otherwise I'm going to have to ask you to call Grandad and uninvite him because I'm too scared to.
I will not in this place stand and set expectations that might lead to people being disappointed.
He said the restriction is being reviewed. Our neighbour across the ditch has taken a dig at Tasmania. New Zealand's opposition leader on the campaign trail said she didn't want the country to end up like our state.
We don't want to be the poor cousin of the rest of Australia as such, as poor Tasmania is.
We did a study tour of New Zealand tourism industry about 12 months ago, and we came back thinking that they could actually learn more from us than we could learn from them. Yeah, stupid comment.
New Zealanders head to the polls on Saturday. A trio of knitting nanas accused of trespass has had their charges dropped. Aged in their 60s and 70s, they were arrested for blocking the entrance to Parliament House during a climate protest exactly 1 year ago.
1 year to the day, these 3 nanas were arrested outside Parliament.
We stand with you!
Blocking the main doors as a part of an Extinction Rebellion protest, knitting scarves reading Tell the Truth and demanding action on climate change. The nanas were charged with trespass, previously pleading not guilty, but today that was dismissed. The trio exiting the Hobart Magistrates Court with those same scarves in hand.
Extinction! Rebellion! Extinction!
This is a year to the day. We were arrested on the 15th of October 2019, so a whole year of coming to and from court.
12 months on, and they still hold the same environmental concerns.
The situation about the climate hasn't changed.
No.
It's still a second rate. The government still doesn't take it seriously.
If we don't do something, then we will get extinct too.
And they're not planning on putting down their knitting needles anytime soon.
They threw the charges out, but will it be that next time? We might have to test that.
Yep.
Thank you.
And we will.
We will. That's a promise.
That's the thing. We will be back.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government says support is being offered to staff following revelations of historical abuse at the Launceston General Hospital. Sarah COURTNEY says the health service took immediate action on the claims, standing down the nurse involved who has since died.
We are making sure that this matter is examined fully. I have asked the Secretary to make sure that the matters around this, both currently and historically, are re-examined.
Workers are being encouraged to come forward with information over the claims. If you or someone you know needs support, you can contact 1800-RESPECT. Bicycle Network has welcomed a funding announcement to widen the Tasman Bridge pathways. And with bike sales booming since the start of the pandemic, the group wants to see more done in the state to make commuting on two wheels more attractive.
Not all businesses are feeling the pandemic pinch.
Initially we did see a drop when everything got locked down and people couldn't go mountain biking, but then after that I guess people wanted to get out and about.
Bike shops are booming, with new hobbies in high demand.
It varies from month to month, but roughly 2 to 3 times busier than we'd normally expect to be this time of year. That means that we've put on more staff to try cope and get as many bikes as we can out the door.
There's been huge increases in sales in bike shops, but not only that, people are getting out their old bikes from the shed and getting them fixed up.
Keen to capitalise on this, Bicycle Network Tasmania says infrastructure improvements are key.
Most of Tasmania is quite deficient in really good quality bicycle infrastructure for transport.
These narrow paths on the Tasman Bridge weren't even intended for pedestrian use, and with upgrades announced, scenes like this will soon be a thing of the past.
Well, we think funding for wider paths on the Tasman Bridge will be a game changer for Hobart. Wider paths that feel more comfortable to ride will encourage many more people to walk and ride.
Riding this wave, Bicycle Network's Ride to Work Day takes place next Wednesday.
Those kind of days are really important for reminding people that riding a bicycle is a really easy way to get around.
The end goal, getting people outdoors.
The more people that are out there recreating, then the fitter and healthier people are.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania is receiving a special group of international arrivals, but they won't escape quarantine. A group of expeditioners bound for Antarctica will land in Hobart tomorrow. The arrivals have already completed 14 days of isolation in their home country and have returned a negative test, but will be completing another fortnight in quarantine here. They'll be housed at Ridges North Hobart and the Travelodge at Hobart Airport. A Tasmanian primary school has launched a new program teaching parents to prepare delicious and nutritious meals with their kids. The free sessions will offer tips on budgeting and diet, all aimed at building a healthier community.
Fresh from the garden and into the kitchen, these students at Waverley Primary School are cooking up a storm.
I look forward to eating it with everyone and tasting all the new flavours.
We use stuff from the garden to cook all the food.
But it's their parents who are set to receive a masterclass, with the school setting up its own nutritional and financial literacy program.
It offers the opportunity for parents and community members to come in for five parents for a 6-week session.
It's not just new skills they'll be taking home.
Participants will also take home a cooking kit, so that all the resources, all the equipment that is needed to produce those meals is provided.
A $15,000 grant given to the school to make the program possible.
We had $3.5 million for this particular area, which is around support, connect and rebuild, and this is one of our small projects that's been successful.
The students will still be involved, using produce from the school's kitchen garden.
Older kids teach us how to take out seeds and how to take out weeds and replant seeds.
And they're hoping to put those skills to practical use.
So I can grow my own crops, and instead of my parents having to go buy veggies, that we just have them in the yard and just go pick them and bring them inside.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
It's hoped a renewed partnership between TASTAFE and Risdon Prison will help ease reoffending rates. A new campus has now opened within the prison, offering inmates more training pathways. Each student will have their own education plan linked to their sentence and will be able to continue the course once released.
The TSL Grand Final is only days away, and for the first time since 1985, North Launceston and Launceston will face off in the decider. And 35 years on from that last encounter, a few familiar names are still on the team sheets.
Not since 1985,
As the bounce of the ball to set the 85 grand final in motion.
Have Launceston and North Launceston faced off in a grand final. That grand final also featured a Whitford and a Harper, but with a twist. Both played for North Launceston.
And it's knocked away slightly by Dutton, picked up there by Whitford. Whitford's going to go wide. There's the kick towards half forward, looking for Mackerel.
UTAS Stadium looked a little different when Launceston came out on top in 1985's NTFA decider. Back to the future, and the Blues are salivating at the chance to win a premiership.
It's something that you obviously look forward to try and be a part of every year.
In their first grand final against anyone since 2012, they'll be hoping to do the same. Taking confidence from, but not reading too much into, their round 2 win against the Bombers.
Both sides are a bit different though since round 2. Bit more balance in each side, and yeah, looking forward to the weekend. I think on paper both sides match up pretty well against each other.
The Bombers still confident they can come out on top.
It's been a challenging year for everyone. I mean, we've been going since November, so it's been an 11-month season for everyone. So teams have had to adapt in different ways and build in different ways. So we're where we need to be at the moment. So we've got one more to go. So that's where the focus is at the moment.
Their coach is nearing a three-peat, but he's staying in the moment.
My position and my philosophy around the footy club, it's the footy club's bigger than one person. I'm the custodian of the coach at the moment. It's my job to do the best that I can to put our footy club in the best position that I can, and hopefully I've done that over the last 3 years that I've been in the role.
A clash for the ages. It was hotly contested then.
Jackson quickly on the run, he screws it around nicely, right through, and it's a goal, one apiece.
And it's going to be just as fierce now. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
And an iconic Tasmanian sailing race will go ahead this year amid pandemic uncertainty. The Launceston to Hobart is one of the few races of its calibre allowing under-18s to take part. And some of this year's participants hope to go on and tackle some of the world's most challenging yacht races.
After a pandemic-induced pause on sailing races, yachties are getting into ship shape for this year's Launceston to Hobart.
Sailing, you can prepare for it, you can plan for it, but at the end of the day, Mother Nature will throw a curly one at you from time to time.
It's one of the few offshore races allowing under-18s to participate. And for the Pritchards, it's a family affair.
It's really good. We don't get into fights because we all know our roles, and it's usually quite fun with your family.
The type of experiences sailing deliver is fantastic, and it prepares us for other things that happens in life.
The Category 3 race launches from Beauty Point on December 27, finishing at Constitution Dock. 30 boats will travel 285 nautical miles along the state's northern and eastern coastline, with a large local turnout expected. Interstate yachts are hoping to compete, with some choosing the race instead of the Sydney Hobart.
We've had interest from South Australia from a couple of boats that probably look like they won't go to Sydney.
But the DERWENT sailing squadron is working out if Victorian boats will be able to compete.
We have got a bit of uncertainty. We've got an entrant from last year, Dream, entered the first day that entries were open, came from Melbourne last year and was second on across the line.
Its ability to race this year will be subject to public health advice. Meanwhile, organisers have today confirmed the Sydney Hobart yacht race will go ahead on Boxing Day, with preparations underway to ensure the event is COVID safe. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Friendly beaches topped the charts today with 22 degrees. Hobart reached 20, Launceston 16, Burnie 14 and Devonport 15. Flinders Island 21 degrees. St Helens 20, Grove 18, Bushy Park 17. Bit cooler, King Island 15, while Smithton, Low Head and Strawn all had 14 degrees. The cloud band with the cold front brought areas of rain today. Best fall 26 millimetres at Lake Margaret. Strathgordon recorded 24. That extensive cloud band also reaches back to South Australia. The cloud west of this indicates a cold pool of air. Troughs brought cloud to the mainland. Tomorrow the front moves off as a high extends a ridge over Queensland and other highs over our region. Troughs continue over the north. Southerly winds at 10 to 20 knots and up to 30 knots over the east, easing and then tending variable over the south and easterly over the north. Swells building to 4 metres. A strong wind warning from and including Flinders Island down to South East Cape. A minor flood warning for the Jordan River, a frost warning current for the upper Derwent Valley. Forecast for tomorrow, Hobart partly cloudy and 14 for Huonville and Campania. Launceston expecting a high of 16 degrees and partly cloudy, 13 the top for Devonport, a bit of sun about, Georgetown 14 degrees. Burnie a high of 13, mostly sunny, same for Strawn but 15 the high and 14 for Wynyard. And for St Helens a top of 13 degrees, a bit of cloud about but fine, Swansea 13, 13 also for Port Arthur. Showers developing over the north on Saturday morning, extending to central and eastern parts later. Mainly fine on Sunday, possible showers over the west and Flinders Island, and on Monday fine and partly cloudy, a light shower over the west and far south. Mostly sunny in Perth, showers for Adelaide tomorrow, fine during the day in Melbourne, a shower later, a possible shower in Sydney but sunny in Brisbane. Bit of cloud over Hobart, it's 11 degrees at the moment, 13 in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport, and right now it's 13 degrees. Fine, but a bit cooler tomorrow, Kim, and a little bit soggy for Saturday.
Okay, thank you for the update. And that is your news for now. There'll be news, sport and weather news breaks later tonight. Take care. Good night.